I wanted to start out with pointing out um, a little bit of an update to our Wednesday office hours. We went ahead and updated the technical assistance page, so you'll see that we are going to still use the office hours for any updates and any questions that you may have. Then we can cover those, and then we're gonna use the second half. So if you want to stay on and see a review of this second, oh, we got some background noise. Not sure where it's coming from, but um, so you'll be able to stay on and if you would like to, and we're going to review like just different sets of tools. So you'll see on this training assistance page, we have the office hours. You can see for each of these areas, which areas we're going to cover during those office hours. Uh, if you don't need to stay on for them, you don't have to. Just because also if you have any questions that are specifically related to one of these other areas, feel free to ask them at any time during the updates and open Q&A time portion. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that that's what we are going to be doing um, in the starting today. So I wanted to just open it up to see if you have any questions right now as it maybe relates to, the focus of these is really on, the different, the pieces and parts that are within the reporting system. But we also have the RAs and, the CEJA team on the call as well. So if you have any questions related to, the program or anything like that, you can ask those as well. So we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Looks like Joy has a question.
Good morning. Yes, I do. It is regarding when a participant is, their status has been withdrawal from the program. Should they also be exit from the program too when they are withdrawal?
If they are not if they are no longer receiving any services, then they would, yes, you can exit them from the program.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. And then Annette.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Oh, perfect. Good morning. Quick question. When adding the dollar value amount to services, I am getting a message that says service has been provided,
Mhm.
opposed to getting the $0 and 0 cent value that I'm looking for. I don't know how to stop that or prevent it. I've tried everything I know how to do.
So let's see what this person has inside there. This is again a test person. So whenever we look at this, are we looking at the wraparound service? Is that the service that you're adding the dollar amount
Uh,
to, or which ones? Like what?
Yes, specifically, is this provide connection for mentorship or peer support in-house?
Okay. So let me add that service to this person. Um, mm,
I think it comes from that service needs assessment. It's one of
oh,
the questions
gotcha.
in there. Yeah.
Okay. Dido, 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 dido. Let me go to this cheat sheet here. So under on our Climate Works, well, I mean, it's under any of them, whether it's Climate Works or Workforce Hubs. under complete intake assessments, there's the service needs and services alignment and mentor transportation. So for this one right here,
Mm-hmm.
it said, ooh, it's looking for this, okay, mentorship. I was trying to just highlight this, but it's like doing the whole darn thing.
No, that's
I
okay.
don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but um, it's looking for this mentorship service.
Right, and there isn't
And
one that specifically says that. You're
okay,
given 2
let's
choices when trying to pair it with a wraparound service, and neither one of them are
yeah.
working.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the things that whenever that we set this up, I don't think we had mentorship in the wraparound services. Maybe I think maybe we added it later on. So that during the initial setup of the program, we had it so it's like a mentorship service. But that's what like as an enhancement to go back and update this so it could either use the wraparound service or the mentorship. Like for this one right here, like I'll say corresponding service, wraparound support service, itemized lists, whatever, legal aid, so it tells you kind of like the path of which service it's looking for. This one, until we get that updated, is looking for this transition service. I guess we have it under that category. So mentorship. If you add this service that they, um, completed, I don't know. I should have looked at this start when this person was added to the system, but we'll just say here. And then we'll pick a provider and update the service and we'll add some case notes, save it. When you add this service, it should say that that was addressed. You can say it was completed on whatever, we'll say that date. And you add this service in there. This is the trigger that should say that that was that part on the service needs assessment was used to address that scenario. Go back and I don't know if this one has a. These are one of my test people, so I can. But that's the service that it's looking for. Is this
I've
one?
tried it with that service,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, and the best it's gonna do
Is
if a
that
service has been provided, it will not give you that $0 value, which keeps that entire service needs assessment and wraparound services
okay?
area on attention.
All right. All right. Well, let me put together. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through here and mentorship. Would you like to connect with the mentor? Yes. Yep, I can. First of all, I'll see if we have a card for that already. And 'cause I don't know if it may have been something that it's already been identified, but we'll double check to make sure I'll test it and make sure there's a card for it. Let's see, test mentorship. service needs assessment to be marked complete with mentor service. And then do you have a person's ID that you can just tell me and I can, or put it in the chat, one of the two, and I can look
Yeah,
them up?
I will go ahead and put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
Let me see. You want his user ID,
Yeah,
username,
no, just the ID
or
is,
the ID
should
number?
be
Okay,
sufficient.
sure.
And then I can look at that person specifically.
Okay, cool.
So 950. All right, I will do that. And this was Annette, right? Then so I can get back to
Yes.
ATTE. Apply to Annette. Okay. I have that on my to-do list for today. So any other questions? I
Hi,
don't,
this is
oh,
Jackie.
hi.
Hey, I do have a question. I don't know if it was asked before I came on. Joy, did you ask anything?
I
Okay, I'll go
did,
ahead.
but I don't think
Okay.
it is what you're going to ask. So go ahead. That was going to be my
Okay.
next one.
Okay. So we were trying to add, and we emailed David. Is this Natasha?
This is Natasha. David's on though. I think
Okay,
he's
okay.
on. I'm pretty sure he's on.
Perfect. And we were trying to add a credential. For the drop down, when you go to a participant, you can add in credentials, and it was like the CEJA credentials that were already there, like OSHA and some other things I don't know off the top of my head.
Hmm.
And is it the program completion and follow up? Or sorry, I'm not in it either. I'm about to try to.
Oh, I do this all the time. I should have got into UAT. Hold on, let me get into UAT. I think I do this every week. Instead of getting in tests and then they update tests.
Okay,
So
yeah.
for
So just on the participant, if you scroll down to their homepage and earn credential,
mm-hmm,
and you can view and edit that.
mm-hmm.
And we were going to add credentials basically like to the bridge portion of
Okay.
their training. And see. Or you can click on credentials on the side. So I don't even know how to get there myself, but I have a screen clip, so maybe I can share it from there.
See if it'll let me. Oh, I have this one. Okay. Hold on. I gotta go back to a what I got here. Credentials. See if they're. Oh, okay, so steps. So whenever you add a credential, let's go to, you want to add it to the bridge. So
So I
bridge
want
training.
to basically I want to create a credential to add, so we don't have to manually enter it every
All
time.
right. Yep. So that's what we're going to cover today, but I will show you right
Oh,
now.
stop.
No. So whenever you go into here and then you go into training programs and let's see, I have one in here. You know, this is a test, obviously. So, you know, you go into the program, and if you haven't done this already,
Yeah.
okay, good. So, yeah, so you add in, you know, your information, the required information. The next page is the baseline requirements, which you don't have to do it, you can. And then the credentials, and then and this is where you add in like the different credentials that you're going to use. And then once you do this, then you email your RA. And then what they'll do is they'll go in here and they'll look at your program information, you know, da 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 da, all through this. They'll work their way to credentials. When they come to this last piece, you know, they'll look at it and they'll look at the information that you have here, and you can't see it, but they'll have a little box down here that says approved. And so they'll approve your credentials, and then they'll approve the overall training program. And once that's approved, it'll start showing up in where I was.
It was career plan where.
Yeah, I can't. I thought I had a tab already open here, but I don't know. It gets
Okay.
lost here. But let me go to into. I thought I got my share thing up there. I can't. Anyway, I'll just go there. Career plan, and then my steps and my bridge, and then then whenever you go to the credentials section, it'll show up. It should show up right here. So, but mine was pending. Yeah, I'm in this test one, so it's pending, so it doesn't show up here. But when it's approved, then it'll show up here, and then you can just pick it, so you don't have to do this manual thing each time.
Okay, so what we didn't do, so we did a training program, but we just did it for our job specific training and not the bridge. And those are the credentials that we want to add in there. So I will just do a bridge, I guess, and then add in the extra credential.
Okay.
In addition to that, how long, because we had this conversation yesterday on another TA call, how long would it take for it to be approved? Or does it take for it to be approved? Because we've had, and Michelle knows this, but we've had our job specific training and pending status for a while, and she didn't know. So we just informed her again. And so once she's able to approve it, how long does it take?
I mean, when she goes in there and does it, it's immediate.
Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, we can just just let her know, like when you have that credential in there, and then they can, review and approve it.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you want to copy us on it too, that way we can keep like a running, kind of like a record thing too, if we need, if you just to help out the RAs sometimes, because I know they're like really busy and on the road and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we CC David. Do y'all
Oh, okay.
have a general email that we should be emailing as well?
No, that's fine. David's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Joy, it looks like your hand's raised. Yep.
Yeah, I just had another quick question. So in the CEJA reporting system, once the participant has completed their bridge portion of the training, are we to close that out and then go back in to add their job specific training, like the solar or weatherization?
Yes.
Okay. And then with that solar and weatherization, I saw there was a general one that was in there. Do we use that one or do we have one that will have our address attached to it?
You would use just the general service. It's like on the I might have a bunch of them in here. Yeah, just like these just general, job specific, blah, blah, blah. And then whenever you go into it and that training program is approved that we just looked at, then it'll show up under here. And then once it's approved, then, you'll see like your specific ones. So whether it's like
Okay,
solar or HVAC, something like that, then you can
perfect.
pick that program. And I've been using this PowerPoint today because I just happen to have it up. Um, I'm going to move it over here. But like, see how it'll show like the program name and then the address, and then you'll be able to pick it. But once that comes from that training program information. Sorry,
Okay, thank you.
that's what populates here. And then whenever you have the credential information, then that's that area I was showing you that it'll say, this credential associated with this with that training program. Alicia, go ahead.
Hey there. We have a question about entering inquiries. So we were updating all of our inquiries and came across an issue that if another organization, let's just say that the East Central Illinois Building Trades Council had already entered them as an inquiry for the Climate Works program. If we go in to try to enter them as an inquiry for the hub programs, it doesn't allow us to do that. And so we are not able to count them as an inquiry. I'm wondering if there is a way around that, or if maybe we're just not seeing something that we should be doing. Can you help us with that one?
Yeah, so actually, I can talk on it a little bit, but I would like to, David, are you in a position that you could like speak on that more? David's like the transfer king of all this stuff, but
Yeah. Yeah, so let me pull something up here. So it's their inquiry record. Moment here. Just need to log into a couple things and find the right record here. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Sorry, one more second here. It's this one. Yes, okay. So, excuse me, I'm logged in as Climate Works. And if I was to try and add, sorry, screen sizing here, just want to make sure I'm entering the right information. If I was trying to add a customer who is already tied to another account, or sorry, tied to another grantee, when I enter in the information here, let's see, inquiry, and then let's say here. So when I go to click submit, we'll see that this record already exists with another grantee. And since they already exist with another grantee, we're trying to avoid duplicates in the system, since that can cause issues. But what you can do is you can check this box to notify. In this case, Workforce Foundation, that the customers requesting to enroll with your organization, and you can just select from the drop down your organization, and you can enter in the text here, customer would like to.
So David,
Yeah.
I see what you're doing right now, but this is not quite my question. So you're talking about if we wanted to transfer the record to us so that we would be then managing them as, per the service provider.
Mhm.
But what I'm actually talking about is when we're trying to align our monthly reports with the information that is in the database. All right, that's what we're in the process of doing, like everybody else, of course. So we have kept track of our inquiries, but not all of our inquiries had been entered into the database. And so we have gone back to enter those inquiries into the database to then match up with those monthly reports that we've been submitting. However, there may have been an inquiry with another organization because we don't have a navigator here in Champaign. So it's not like everybody went through the navigator and then got assigned to someone. So we're obviously getting our own inquiries as well. But now that they have already, inquired with two of us here in Champaign, one being Climate Works and the other being Workforce Hub, they've already have a record that's showing up as the Workforce Hub, and we're not able to include them as having inquired about our services as well. So I'm just trying to figure out like what we do in that situation. Do we take them off of our report as an inquiry? Or like in the future, if we get an inquiry from someone, but they're already with Climate Works, but they've shown like, for example, interest in Climate Works, and then they come to us and inquire about something, we will have to request them from Climate Works as an inquiry then, even if they are still in a deliberative process of deciding what they want to do. And so I'm just wondering if there's a way for us to input, for both organizations to input them as an inquiry of services, even if we aren't the owner of that record at that time.
That's a
Am I
good.
making sense there?
Yeah. If
Yeah.
I'm understanding that, that's a good question. And it might either on the monthly. Well, I think we'll have to probably talk with the RAs to confirm. In another call. But it might have to be a manual adjustment on the monthly report. But I think that's going to be a conversation that we'll need to have with the RAs to make sure that if, one organization adds them as an inquiry, but they ended up, getting transferred as an inquiry to another organization, how do we want, the reports to capture that?
Right.
Um, yeah,
Because
that's a good.
obviously it is the same customer, right?
Mhm.
But they are inquiring about multiple services underneath the grant. And so I don't know if that matters for record keeping at the larger level, or what the ultimate goal is for that. But I'm happy to do whatever's needed. I just need to figure out what to do in these few cases that I have now where I was trying to input information in, but I can't count them as an inquiry, although I've been counting them on my manual report now for, a while. So at any rate, hopefully the regional folks will be able to give me like a little clarity on that after they deliberate it.
Yeah, good question. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? I know Natasha was going to go over some of the training programs for the second half of our call here. Well, if not, I'll go ahead and turn things back over to you, Natasha.
Maybe. Hmm. But screen share here. Okay, so get my people over here so I can see everybody. All right, so the first part we want to talk about, we have the training programs and then the grantee details. I'm logged in as a Workforce Hub person in test. And just we've used this for many years now, and so there's different pieces and parts that are used for different programs. So I'm going to highlight the stuff that we are covering and using in the CEJA program. So we have your basic information at the top. You'll see an area over here for accepting applications. Right now we have everybody, I think we have everybody set to accepting applications. If there comes a point in time where you are not accepting applications, we can change this to no, and then you know, when in the system it'll indicate that you're not accepting applications. You can put your grant information in there. It's not required, but you can put your grant, the information that's related to your grant in here. When we add your training programs, it'll automatically populate this area for you. The main thing to focus on this area are your services. So, you know, whenever we're going through and working with each of the grantees, kind of just doing a sanity check and making sure that, you know, the Workforce Hub folks have their bridge training program service in there, and then ClimateWorks would have their pre-apprenticeship training, and that we have, you know, a variety of these services that are available in the system. And then we also have some job-specific training items. Let's see what I have in here for this test group. So you'll see we have job-specific training, wind turbine, weatherization, solar. And so they were in the system previously called career training. And we updated the name here to job-specific training so that it matched up, it was more intuitive when it came to the monthly or report or the plan versus actual report. So you can, well, you know, double check, we'll make sure that you have your job-specific training that's offered, you know, in this list. If you know that you're only going to offer, you know, these two and you want to remove the other ones, we can work with you to remove the different services that are, you know, that aren't going to be used by your organization. So just because they're in here doesn't mean you have to use them. But it will, when somebody's like searching to add their services into a career plan, it'll, you know, it'll just limit it to the services that you want them to use for the reporting. The next area is training programs. So you'll have your project, you're going to select your grant, you can filter, you'll see what programs are out there and available. You can add a program. Since I already have information in here, I'm just going to go ahead and select it. So we'll click Edit. We have these options at the top. Like I mentioned previously, we've used this tool for a variety of programs over the years, and this was the list that has been generated as a result. We do have, after we have some other more pressing reporting and new program development that's underway, but then we do have this in a list as an enhancement to come back and just put in more specific CEJA related fields. So for right now, for your pre-apprenticeship, your ClimateWorks, you can just choose, you know, pre-apprenticeship, and for your workforce hubs, you can select career pathway. It's not going to stop you from doing anything, and you know, we can go back once we have those other CEJA specific items and just update it so that it's more accurate. Then we have these options to choose from. so you can choose like from a list of private business vocational schools. You can select from we have approved training programs, or you can just click to submit a training program for approval. Either way you look at it, what it's going to do is if it's in one of these other two, it's going to take the information that's currently in the system and populate the fields that we have the information for. So, you know, in this case, it looks like, you know, we had the program name, program information, description, provider name, street, address. So all these asterisks are the fields that you will need to include. And since I already have this up over here, why is this needed? Why is this important? Is for one thing, it'll save you time. Um, so when you have this program name and the provider information, what it's going to do once that training program is approved, when you go to add services and then you click on the service provider, we'll have you here, and then let's say you had one for wind energy and one for solar and one for whatever else. You know, you'll be able to pick that specific training program from this list, and that way you don't have to manually enter in that information into that service. So as we go through here, one of the things we have is a zip code. You can look this up, you know, like today we had an example for HVAC. You can put that in there and select. You know, you can do a keyword search. The zip code is a training instructional classification of instructional programs. So it's related to when people want to pull reports on the different types of training, they'll look at one of the things they'll look at is a zip code. We have your time to complete. Again, this isn't, you know, this isn't like if we need to update some of these later on, that's fine, but it's a required field. So I'd say probably most of yours are going to fit under this architecture and construction, maybe under, you know, like, you know, you can pick any of these, whatever is the best fit at this point. But, you know, if you have something that's more manufacturing, choose manufacturing. And the SOC code is the same thing. I think whenever I was meeting with the group this morning, they didn't say HVAC, but if it doesn't look, you know, if you don't see that, just look at the word like heating. You can see heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, hit select, and that's your occupation code. And it'll populate this line and then NAICS codes. And the reason why we've had these in the past is just, again, various programs have asked for information. And this is the most standardized way to be able to pull the information and provide it for reports as needed. So that's why we have it. So you can look up a NAICS code. Again, if I looked up HVAC and hit search, I don't think I get anything. Okay, but if I look up heating, I have a variety of options to choose from. And again, it's not that big of a deal. Just, you know, you can pick one with the smaller number. Like that's kind of like the higher, like more umbrella. Some of these get into like more details under that classification. Hit select. You can add it. Again, it's nothing. It's not going to make or break anything. Then the next thing is what are you projected to serve? So just put your number in here. We have these, I know this says scenario tester 3. These are the names we have in for the test people in the system. So the program contact is going to be, it's not going to be displayed anywhere. It's more about, you know, if an RA or if David or I have a question or need something updated related to the data that's entered into this training program information, That's who we know who to reach out to. So just select the person's name, minimum age, and then the next page is baseline requirements. You can enter these. You don't really have to, but if you would like to add more information about the program, then feel free to enter this information. This tool also is used for a public search display side, but we're not using it. And so some of these are related uh, to the searches that are for that public site if we were to use it. But at this point, if you would like to provide the information, you can. Otherwise, you don't need to. The next area that we are using for this program is the add credentials. So with this one, so for the credentials, move this over here, get down to the next PowerPoint slide. You don't need to add OSHA 10, First Aid, NCCER, or this MC3 certification. This is what we put these in here already, and what we call it hard-coded. A lot of time you'll hear me refer to this as the hard-coded CEJA credentials. And so those will be available, so you can just pick them as needed where they apply. And when you do that, it's going to automatically populate this area for you. So whenever you go in there, you just have to enter in like a date and the type of credential, that like if you have a copy of their certificate or something like that. So for those 4 credentials, we already have them in the system. So the only thing that you need to add are the credentials that are related to a specific training program and that are above and beyond these 4 credentials. So when you put those into this credential area, you'll need the credential name, the type, the owner, a description, and then we have a section here for, is the participant prepared to earn the following credential, or do they earn the credential once they successfully complete the program? And so once you enter this information and save it, you'll see that it comes across this line as pending. And then you'll just hit finish. And then you'll just need to let your RA know whenever you have information entered into the system and that you would like to have it reviewed and approved. Then what they'll do is they'll go in, they'll look at your program information, they'll come over here to the credential, review that information, and then whenever they come in, you don't see it here, but they will have a box down here that says that they need to approve, or that will say not approved or approved. And so they'll change that to approved, hit save, and then they'll go back to the overall program. Let's do finish. They'll come over here to this program. They'll change this to approve. And then once that is approved, then the program and the credential will be available to select in your services in these 2 areas. And that is the information that we were reviewing today. Any questions on that? Our next office hours, we will be looking at the outreach and engagement section. if you have questions about any of this at any time, feel free. You don't have to wait, you know, until that day to ask questions. You can always send in a help desk ticket or reach out. But this is one area that we're going to be talking about next week. All right. Well, I don't see any questions coming in. I don't know if the CEJA team or anybody has anything to add. We only have a couple more minutes left in our session.
Natasha, this is Larry. Can you hear me?
I can.
One question, particularly for RAs looking up the programs entered for approval, are those tied to the specific provider, or is it tied more to the lead grantee? So in a scenario where a grantee has multiple providers, do you have to look up when trying to identify the programs? If you choose the lead grantee, do these all come up, or do you have to look up the individual provider? Does that question make sense to you? You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think I have to log in as a super user. But I think you're going to need to know like who the like if it's the grantee or the sub grantee.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So all the programs under a, let's say for instance, a grantee has 3 subs and each one has their own program. If you choose the lead grantee, do all those 3 programs roll up to show under that lead grantee?
I don't think we have it set up that way at this moment.
Okay.
Well, but I'm going to look at over here on my, I have to log in as a super user and test. I want to, I'm like 90% sure that we don't have it where it's like grantee, sub grantee at this time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But let me hire 360. I don't even know. Trying to think in our test one, which ones? Oh wait a minute. I think Richland is the, yeah, unfortunately it looks like for the super user, the way we have it set up right now is like you would have to look at, I think Richland is our grantee and I think Workforce Foundation is like as our sub grantee for in test.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be helpful whenever maybe like I don't know how you want to do it. If it's just, if hire, like for example, if Hire 360 tells you, or if it's like the sub grantee that sends the email to you and the contact at Hire 360, I don't know the best, workflow for that. No.
Yeah. We'll probably just figure it out with the grantees then.
Okay. Looks like Jackie has a question.
Hi, yes, I just wanted to follow up. I did notice that Michelle wasn't on this call, and Natasha, you mentioned that David could support in getting the programs approved. We have been really, really wanting to get these assigned, so by the time I do this report, which I'm trying to do before the end of the week, all of our numbers in the system are a bit accurate because we're trying to assign these training programs to the participants so they can move and matriculate through, the REDs and things like that. So is that something that can be approved sooner than later.
I would, yeah, I mean, yes, we'll work with the CEJA team and work on that, get that. I don't want to speak for anybody and say
Right.
that we're going to approve it for somebody, but
Yeah.
we can figure out something. I'm
Okay. Thank you so
sure.
much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. If we have just a few more minutes for any last minute questions. All right, without hearing anything else, I'll let everybody go, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you. Goodbye, y'all.
bye.
Bye.